Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you some of my top posing tips. And these are not just for models, they're also for just everyday life and for your Instagram photos and things like that. Hopefully these tips will help you achieve your most natural looking poses and they will help you highlight your body in the best way possible. Make sure to watch through to the end because I'm going to be answering your guys' questions that you submitted on my Instagram. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, but it is a lot to cover, so I've kind of been putting it off and I'm finally doing it and I'm so excited. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Please do give this video a like. It really helps boost the video so that I can get more eyes on my videos and continue making awesome content for you guys. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe and turn on the notifications, you know the drill. But anyways, let's get right into the video. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys my top 5 tips for posing, and then I'm going to be answering your questions at the end. So the first one is whatever you put towards the camera looks the biggest. So use that to your advantage. For example, I always like to shift my hips back. It makes your legs look thinner, and I also like to keep my shoulders back. They always say shoulders back in modeling, and this is one of the reasons why. Because whatever is further away from the camera looks smaller. And I, for one, have a pretty broad set of shoulders on me. I was very athletic growing up. So when I put my shoulders back, it makes them look more narrow and more feminine, and I can actually use, you know, the camera distance to my advantage. Another way you can use this to your advantage is by putting one foot forward, and that makes your leg look so much longer. You'll look like 6 inches taller doing this. I always get comments on my Instagram photos like, oh my god, how tall are you? You look 6'2", but I'm actually only 5'8". When you're sitting down, you can also use this to your advantage by sticking out a leg and elongating your body. It will make you look taller and also make you look less crunched in that seat. And one last thing, if you're shooting with a friend and you can kind of direct them, I always like to ask them to get lower because, again, whatever's closest to the camera looks biggest. So when they're lower, your leg will look longer and you will look taller. And when you're taking selfies, I always like to hold the camera higher because you can make your neck look thinner and your face look more angular. So lots of different ways to use that camera to your advantage. All right, my next tip is to find your light. Lighting is so important. I would say probably the #1 most important thing when you're taking a photo. Wherever it's coming from, angle your face towards that light. But yeah, so find good lighting, angle your face towards that light so that you don't get bags under your eyes and your face just really comes alive and is brightened up by that light. So when we're talking natural light, like outside, there are typically 2 different kinds of light. You have overcast and direct sunlight. Direct sunlight can actually be quite hard to work with. So I'm gonna give you a couple of poses that you can try if you are dealing with really strong sunlight. So if you have really strong sunlight coming from over here, you can try covering your eye like this, blocking the sun a little bit. That's cute, that's playful, and it gives you something to do with your hands. You can also extend your arm and block the sun that way, and that can be quite artsy if you get it to cover your eyes, and it's a lot of different angles. And you can also be extra playful and go like this, cover both your eyes if it's really strong. There are lots of fun things you can do with your hands when you have that super bright sunlight. And then when it comes to overcast, you guys, you might think when you're going to take photos that you want a really sunny day. Actually, overcast is probably the best lighting you can get. When you're on a professional photo shoot and there's direct sunlight, they actually hold this big white sheet over you. It's like a shield, it's like a reflector, but it creates an overcast over the model. And that's because they love that overcast, even light. So when it is naturally overcast with some clouds, it is like creating your own reflector situation, and you end up getting the most even, beautiful lighting on yourself. So don't be afraid to go shoot in those cloudy days. You can warm up the photo a little bit if you want to in Photoshop or on your, you know, editing apps. Okay, and then if you're shooting indoors, of course, when there's studio light, models, you have to angle your body and face towards that light. A lot of times in e-commerce, you have light coming from like one side, and you really want to work that and don't turn away from the light. The photographer will tell you over and over again, your lighting's over here, your lighting's over here, and they just want you to turn and face that light. All in all, face the light. That's my #1 tip. If you're outside, if you're in a studio, turn and face that light. It will make your photos look so much better and make yourself look better too. All right, that was a bit of a long one. Moving on to the next tip. and that is to take note of what you're wearing. For professional modeling shoots, when you're working with a client, they're typically going to want you to highlight unique features about the clothing. So maybe if a jacket has a wide sleeve or something, you can open up your arms and show off that wide sleeve. Or if it's a wide leg pant, they're going to want you to separate your legs to show the cut of those pants. Maybe there's a pocket detail or lace on the side. So whatever it is, show off that detail and kind of study what you're wearing before you go out on set. I feel like this is my secret weapon and why I get rehired for the same clients over and over again. I do take that extra moment to study what I'm wearing, and they don't have to ask me, hey, can you show that tie detail in the front? I know that if there's something unique, I need to show that in the photo. Okay, and then if you're shooting more Instagram style content, it's important to study what you're wearing as well. So if you have a skirt, maybe try turning and twisting and playing with that skirt. Or if you have a jacket, you can try throwing it over your shoulders or whipping it around. You can play with your pockets, you can play with a belt, you can hold your sunglasses. So whatever you're wearing, study that, recognize it, and it can give you a lot of options for things to play with and things to highlight and show in your photo. Now, this kind of brings me to one of your questions that you guys had, which was, what do I do with my hands? I feel like this is the most common question that people ask. I don't know why everyone feels so awkward with their hands, but I've got some solutions for you. So the immediate answer is just to have something to hold or play with. If you're creating your own photos for Instagram or whatever, feel free to get a prop. Stop at the coffee shop and get a cute coffee to hold, or maybe a pastry like a croissant or a cookie. Croissant or something like that to hold on to and play with. It'll give your hands something to do at all times. Also, a model's signature move for some reason is to hold your hands kind of at your waist and just play with them there. It might be weird to you, but it actually looks really natural in photos. And it's something that I do on e-commerce all the time, especially when I'm wearing like a dress or something that has nothing to play with. If you hold your hands there, or maybe a swimsuit, if you hold your hands at your waist, it actually looks really natural, gives you good shape, and gives you something to do with those hands when there is nothing else to do. And one last tip for what you can do with your hands is touch different parts of your body. So you can place it on your collarbone or place it on your head, run your fingers through your hair. You can just glide it up your hip a little bit, or cross your arms, hold your hands like this, move them around. Whenever you're feeling awkward with your hands, I would keep those things in mind. Either play with what you're wearing, hold a prop, or touch various parts of your body. And hopefully that will give you some ideas for what to do with your hands in photos. Okay, so that wraps up the tip on taking note of what you're wearing. Let's move on to the next one, and that is motion. I think especially when you're new to modeling, using motion is a really good way to have natural poses. I've actually noticed in photo shoots, like if a girl maybe doesn't know what to do or is a little bit awkward in front of the camera, they'll ask her to walk or do a spin or do a little jump in place. And it's because those motion shots make it really easy to capture something beautiful, and you don't really have to think about like static poses. What am I gonna do next? It's just natural and flowy, and you end up getting some really gorgeous in-between shots. So some ideas for you if you want to try this motion option. You can try kicking a leg. You can try doing this little half jump. I use this all the time. It looks really beautiful and natural. You can also try walking. Just take a few steps and then take a few steps back and then take a few steps and then come back. All right, so my last tip for you guys before I move into the questions is practice in front of the mirror. I know they say this all the time on like America's Next Top Model, but it is so important to know your face and know your body and know what works and what doesn't for you. So first of all, this can be really helpful for hiding your insecurities or playing up your best features. For example, let's say you have a big scar on this side of your face. Just know that typically this is going to be your best side. Every face is different, so I can't even really give that many tips for this section, but you just have to look at yourself in the mirror and recognize, okay, when I go like this, I tend to get a double chin, so maybe I need to extend my neck a bit more. Or maybe you look better when you have your face angled down than when you have it angled up like this. Maybe one eye is bigger than the other, so you want to play that up by angling your face in a certain way. So don't be ashamed, sit in front of that mirror and just study your face, try different things, try things that you might not be comfortable enough yet to try in front of a photographer. Just learn what works best for you. Okay, that reminds me about smiling. It is so important as a model to figure out a smile that works for you. I used to find it so awkward to smile in photos, and then I sat in front of the mirror and I was like, I need to figure this out. In modeling, there are gonna be so many times when the photographer is like, can you do like a little half smile? They love the half smile. So if I were you guys, I would figure out a little natural half smile, kind of pleasant look that works with your face. It's hard to do while talking, but okay, pause. It's just like a smirk. It's like you're pleasant, you're happy, but it's not like school picture smile. Do you know what I'm saying? So I would get in front of the mirror and try to master that half smile, a big smile, and like a laughing smile. So for me, that's my pleasant smile. And then I have like a real smile. It's so awkward, but doing a little chuckle sometimes helps. And then a big smile. So if they're like, okay, we need something super playful, I don't know, I would be like, I know that's so awkward to do on camera, but try practicing those 3 different smiles because it will help you so much on set. You'll be surprised with how many times they ask you for those different types of smiles. And if you have them mastered and you know what works for your face, it will really be beneficial to you. Speaking of, I have studied my face so much that I know when I smile, this side goes down and this side goes up. So when I'm doing a smiling shot, I oftentimes turn my face this way because it looks nicer to have the smile going upwards. Okay, I'm gonna try to show you. Here's my smile. Nice upward angle and downward. So I know that if I'm doing a smiling shot, I want to angle my face this way. And that's just something that you learn with time, like get in front of that mirror and practice. Okay, so now I'm going to move into the question and answer portion of the video. I asked you guys to submit some questions on my Instagram about your posing questions, and I'm going to be answering those now. By the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure to do that. My handle is the same on all my social media. It's just India Gantz. Okay, so the first question is how to hide your fat arms. And I hate the F word, I would never say fat. But we all struggle with that, you know, squishy part of our arm right here. And there are certain ways to make your arms look better in photos. I'm gonna show you. Okay, rolling this up. All right, so I always struggle when I'm from the side. Look at this, when I'm pressing my arm against my body, look how much bigger it looks. First of all, your arm is towards the camera, so like we talked about earlier, that's gonna make it look bigger anyways. And then I have it pressed against my body, so it's gonna look even wider. My biggest tip is when you're going from the side, look at that. You stick out your arm and you instantly lose inches on your arm. So we have this versus this. It looks like a different arm, seriously. So my biggest thing is to not press your arm into your body when you're doing those side shots. And in modeling, you don't really want to press anything into anything. For example, when you're sitting, don't fully sit. You kind of want to lift that booty cheek off of the chair so that you don't have that squishy looking bum. If you're doing something like this, you don't actually press your face into your hands, okay? Not like that. It's light, it's airy, okay? Because you want to keep your face strong and not squished. So never squish your body into anything, if that makes sense. And another thing for making those arms look thinner is just create gaps. So again, not pressing into your body like this, but create those gaps in your body and it will make your arm look much thinner. All right, next one is how do I look slimmer? And it's basically the same tip. Create gaps in your body. So open up your legs, open up those arms, create gaps and angles. Try turning your waist sideways but your shoulders forward and you get a really beautiful gap in your body there. I also think that when you look longer, you look slimmer. So again, stick a foot out so that you look much taller and really extend that neck. I think those are my biggest tips. Create gaps in your body, extend your neck, and always extend a limb. All right, next one is how to pose with friends. Okay, so first thing, you've all been in those group photos where they're like, okay, everybody get together, and you're all like, you know, having your arms around each other and you always look bad. I have been there. It sometimes seems like there's no way to look good in those big group photos. I've tried turning to the side like they do in the sororities, and I've tried standing straight, and I'm like, how do I look good in these photos? I'm a model, right? I should be able to look good in a group photo. And I finally think I figured out what's best for me, at least. Of course, try different things for yourself, practice in front of the mirror. But for me, I actually keep my body straight to camera and extend a leg like I've been talking about. And I don't cross my legs, I don't have them to the side, I make sure that you can see both legs in the photo, and I extend one out in front of the other. I think for some reason that makes me look the tallest and the slimmest that I can. I actually think when you turn to the side in those group photos, it's actually surprisingly not flattering because you're putting your arm forward, your arm looks big, your legs are both back so you don't look tall, and your body's very squished and small, not extended. So I don't think turning to the side actually looks good in group photos. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but for me, I try to avoid turning to the side. All right, so then posing with one friend. I'm just gonna give you a couple of examples of what you can do. So you can have one person in front, like she would be here and I would be here, and you can like put your arms crossed on her shoulders. That looks really cool. It's kind of like badass. You can also have one person down and one person up. I think having some dimension in the photo looks really nice. So have one person sitting, one person standing, one person on the ground, and one person kind of like crouched. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but creating different height dimensions looks really good in a photo. Or whoever is taller can put their arm on the shorter person's shoulder. They can also play with their hair while it's on their shoulder, things like that. So hopefully that gives you a few ideas for what to do with a friend in a photo. You will look like a badass trying those different poses, so have fun with it and don't forget to create dimension. I guess that's my #1 tip. Okay, and the last question is one that I got the most of any question, and that is what to do if you're an awkward person, or what to do if you feel awkward in front of the photographer. All right, so as you get better at modeling and posing and moving in photos, that comfort will come naturally, but in the beginning, I totally get it that it can feel a bit awkward. So this is my biggest tip for you. So when you have a test at school, how can you feel most comfortable? It would probably be learning all the material, right? And actually knowing it. You can feel very confident going into the test if you know all the material. Or like if you have an interview, you always want to see the questions beforehand. That's how you can feel most comfortable and know what's coming. So I think if you're planning your own photo shoots for Instagram or something, I think having a concept planned out, a location planned out, outfits planned out, and then additionally some potential poses with each of those outfits, you will feel so much more comfortable in front of your photographer. I would also recommend, if you're picking out the outfits yourself, to try on those outfits in front of the mirror and see which angles look best in each outfit and what parts of the clothing you can play with, things like that. Maybe even save on your phone some example photos of like the type of shot you want to get, and that way you can work to achieve that shot instead of just mindlessly shooting photos. And then if you are not planning to shoot yourself, if you are a model on set and they are giving you the clothing and providing the set for you, it's always very helpful if you get a mood board for the shoot. So if you do get one of those, make sure you study that and actually take a look at it, see what kind of poses they're looking for so that you can start planning some ideas in your head for what you might want to do. And if you don't get to see a mood board, just like I said earlier, study what you're wearing, study your location, and if they provide a mirror, that's awesome because you can look at yourself in the outfit and kind of see what angles are going to work for you in that particular outfit. If you find yourself to be a bit stuck and you don't really know what to do next, that's okay. Just start walking, do a little half jump. You can also even almost pretend like you're a lyrical dancer and kind of throw your arms around a little bit. That can look really cool in a photo. So don't get stuck and don't just think, what's my next pose? You can also just move and flow, and the photographer can capture those magical in-between moments. Also, you can't always do this, but if you're able to see the shots, like if you have a friend shooting you, take a look at the photos and see how they're looking and make little changes to make yourself look better. It's usually fine with the photographer if you say, hey, can I see a couple of those shots? I just want to see, you know, what the lighting is looking like and things like that. And when you see yourself on camera, it really helps you with posing. You're like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Like, why do I have my arm like that? And then you can fix it moving forward. All right, so those are all the questions I'm gonna do for now. I hope that my tips helped you guys and you got some of your most burning posing questions answered. Refer back to this video next time you have a shoot with your friends for Instagram, or you're heading into a modeling photo shoot, and I am sure some of the tips will help you guys. So I hope you enjoyed that video and you can make use of the tips in your daily life and photo shoots. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time for another video. Bye guys.